Krishnamacharya is saying you can cheat the body, but you can't cheat the breath. So obey the breath. The breath is the guru to the asana. Obey the guru. Yeah. Now, if you obey the guru, then you can work very hard. I enjoy a strong asana practice with, standing vinyasa, Surya Namaskars and headstand, shoulder stand with leg movement, demanding forward bends. I like this stuff. If you obey the breath as the central feature of the asana, where the body is an outward expression of the breath activity, then you're safe. And it's the number of breaths that you do is the gauge to the asana, and the breath ratio with bandha that you can do without exhausting the breath. And if you lose the breath in that, then it's time to come back and get back into line with the breath. So the breath is this continual monitoring of the process of asana. Continual monitoring, always obeying those principles. What I say is that those 5 principles that we've covered is the criteria in which you self-correct your practice. It's called swadhyaya, self-seeing, jaya to see, self-watching, self-correction actually. I was once doing a pranayama with Desikachar, my teacher, and it was in the early stages of studying with him, and he said, I just made a little change in the pranayama that I was doing. I changed the breath ratio a little bit to it, and he said, very good. Self-correction, he said. Self-correction. Is everybody understanding have you experienced that in your practice so far? Self-correcting. Coming back in line with the breath ratio and the number of breaths that you can do in whatever the asana is. It could be quite a simple asana, or it could be something very demanding.
Along those lines, if I was trying to do, working on, 8, 16, and 8, and the 8s are good, but the 16 on the exhale is difficult. So
right.
I ask you, is that as far as correcting that? Should
yes.
I lower the rest or just go to where I can and stay with that?
Yeah, where you can go and stay with it.
Okay, just do that.
Yeah, and you become familiar, you become intimate indeed with your breath, and your breath capability you understand. And you're always sort of within that breath capability, and maybe changing it around a little bit, either extending it or reducing it, as the case may be, according to your energy of the month, of your life, changing it around. You go to the edge of your capability and then step back. You go to the edge of the cliff and walk back a few feet, so you're safe. You can play the edge of your breath and asana capability, if you know what I mean. So go to the edge, but then step back. Give yourself a break. Don't be a male hero that destroys yourself by climbing Mount Everest or kayaking between New Zealand and Australia and dying on the way. This happens all the time. I'm so great respect and great love for men who are adventurers, but they're only adventurers because they've never loved a woman. They don't know what true pleasure is. So they want to climb Mount Everest or do something mad, like sail the world and drown. Excuse me, I mean, I'm being a little exaggerated perhaps, but no, it's just a point. In this yoga business, they're doing the same thing. Like yoga studs, competing with themselves and with each other. and hurting themselves all the time. You know, they miss the point that yoga is intimacy with reality itself, that is nothing but a nurturing force. And it's extremely beautiful and extremely pleasurable, you know? And if you knew the risk calculation of climbing Mount Everest or paddling to Australia that would deny you of that pleasure that you're enjoying, you just wouldn't do it. Who'd want to do that? You know? Who'd want to beat themselves up with asana and wear their joints out and tear their tendons from their bones and cause lifelong pain in the joints? That's what happens in this madness that's being called yoga. It's not even good gymnastics, because there's this, you know, male heroic effort behind it. That's all I'm saying. You know, and with the firefighters of New York, it's a particular delicate matter, because they are in that psychology of all wanting to be heroes and male and bound and strong, strength that doesn't recede, that is actually destroys itself eventually. You know, it creates degenerative illness and then you die in that psychology. So strength must receive. But you can't sort of like, Krishnamacharya would say, you have to give the people what they want so you can give them what you want. So you have to like, there has to be a challenge. You know, like, come on, you know, come on bro, up dog, down dog, chaturanga dandasana, go. That's all right, especially for younger people, you know. But not without these principles, and be as emphatic about the principles and including those principles as you are about the heroic effort. You know, I want to hear you inhale, come on. Because it's easy to do asana without breath. It's easy to flip-flop the body around. But to put the breath in requires, you know, more focus, more strength actually, and more sincerity, you know. So, yeah. It's a deeper life activity than to just like throw your body around in extreme, exaggerated postures. Yeah. So I hope, and you go to the edge, take them to the edge, and I'm speaking about your future career, take them to the edge and then step back a few feet so they don't fall off the cliff. If you fall off the cliff, you explode the pranas out of the body instead of bringing them into the body. I mean, you might have experienced that. I've experienced it many times in my life through my heroic effort. You know, I do too much and ugh, I feel like shit. Well, you do, because you've exploded energy out of the system. So you learn to play keeping the pranas in, you know, flowing in, rather than bursting them out through too much muscular effort without receptivity, or trying to like be at the edge of the cliff. Yeah. You know what I mean about all of that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, great.
Thank you.
With the asanas, I'm finding it hard to inhale like how we do the inhales when we're twisting. So in a twist, I find it hard to breathe in the inhale.
Right, so you slightly untwist. I mean, that's precisely the point. You know, I say make the inhalation half of the asana. Like really do what you have to do to the anatomy to allow the inhalation to come in. You know, it's all about exhale, exhale, strength, strength, and you're strongly in this twist, and then you try to inhale. You know, so what you got to do is go. Right, you got it. You really got to make the inhale half the asana, receptivity half the asana. If you do that, it's profound. You know, a twist becomes hatha yoga. Hatha, the union of left and right, and the twist, the union of above to below. It does, and it's beautiful. It's a meditation.